The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the Rev after a long week of trial. So let's get the COVID started so we can get to the nitty-gritty here.
Well, first thing about COVID, we are out of the red zone. We are now in the yellow zone. So Somebody's doing something right. So this is our great claim to fame this week. We are in the yellow zone.
While everybody else is like free.
Massachusetts total numbers. Total cases is 650,859. New cases was 1,004. Total deaths is 17,311. New deaths 5. Bristol County has 65,357. Fall River's numbers as of yesterday. Total count is 13,932, up 132 over the last week. That's about 19 a day, I believe. And total deaths is 371. That means we're up 2 deaths since last week. And just for our viewers' information, the mayor didn't feel it was important enough to post these numbers himself. His offices sent out a press release. Normally, he has a video announcement about this, but there was nothing from him yesterday. So he must have been very busy with something else, because obviously informing the citizens is no longer important because we're in the yellow zone.
Well, he's busy putting together his campaign and highlighting his movies and the other.
I was hoping you were going to say his budget, but
yeah. Well, listen. I'm glad you said that, because that is a great segue into today's show, which is, obviously we saw that we've been watching the trial. The trial is, the trial is coming to an end, and the rumors are flying about the former mayor taking off if he's released and leaving the country, and like some movie. But the thing that this trial, this was one of the things I was going to talk about up at the trial. We can talk about the specifics of the trial. But to me, one of the greatest things about this trial was it clearly revealed how corrupt this city really is and how much BS the budget is. We have said for years the budget is BS. And I'm speaking directly to our city council now. We saw testimony under oath that snow removal money was to pay somebody off, paying him for work he didn't do that had nothing to do with snow removal. And we saw that under oath. So that isn't an allegation. Okay, the director of DCM basically said he paid somebody out of the snow removal budget for something other than snow removal. And at last year's budget hearing, we saw Mary Sahadi come in and say the healthcare was going up 8% when everybody was fully aware it was 5.7, and nobody forced her to correct her number. And even when she does, she half lies. She said she overprojected. No, you padded the bill. Then they also saw her add $5 million to the city's line item to pay their share of the healthcare premium. It was $40 million. She submitted 45, and then she admitted it was for other things. Well, this is the problem, City Council. This is why we need a forensic audit, because guess what? They got more padding in that bill than a skinny 13-year-old that wants to look like a Baywatch model. Because that's what they do. They hide money all over the place. There have been allegations for years that they hide pay raise money in the healthcare account on their side and everything else. But it's been revealed that what you vote on is nothing more than a fabrication, or to use their words from 91, just a recreation or a reconciliation of the number they want to get to. And it's your job to make sure that not only is every penny going to what it was budgeted for, unless it comes through you for a change, but also that those numbers are accurate, because it's taxpayer money. So let's hope they're paying attention. So that's my segue into this. So,
well, I'll tell you right now, we've said this for years on this show, that in Newton, when they present their budget, that's their budget. A department head, nobody can come back to the city council and say, we need more money for this, or we need more money for that, or we need to transfer this money from here to there. That's it. That's the budget. Like it or not, that's the budget. You can't come back for more. But in Fall River, we approve a budget, and the next day, we're already trying to move money from one account to another, and we're trying to get more money for this or that because it wasn't included in the budget. The budget is, as you said, a fabrication. It's a fairy tale. It's nothing more. And as long as the city council keeps approving all of these transfers between accounts and between departments, the budget's never going to be done properly, and the budget will never exist properly. But they fall for the old line. Well, if you don't do it, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to have the state take over. We're going to have an audit. We're going to have this. No, too bad. You should have planned that out accordingly. You had your budget. You didn't plan it accordingly. Suck it up. Wait till next year. That's just the way it is, because guess what? This bull of going back and forth with money that we have no idea where it's coming from, where it's going to, and padding the budget so much that we can double pay a contractor for snow removal he didn't do, that we can pay for a water line to be installed in another person's building that was never brought before us. And I don't care. I spoke to a city councilor who said, we would have been on the hook for that because we cut the water off. I don't care if we would have been on the hook for it. Guess what? It wasn't done properly. It wasn't done properly. So don't justify it. Don't justify it. It wasn't done properly. And this city councilor agreed with me. It wasn't done properly. And that it's not acceptable.
No, you're right. And the fact is that, listen, if the city would have had to pay, just like when you blow your tire out in one of these potholes and it takes you 2 years, unless you're a city councilor, like in the case of Pat Casey, a friend of a city council or a city council who blows their tire, then you get all 4 tires and a new suspension system when you hit a pothole, because that's the corruption of the city. But the reality is there's a process. He was supposed to pay for it. And not only that, the number, they even lied about the number. They said it was $7,900, but that was what he was owed after they paid him the money from the snow removal budget. The actual cost of that operation was $11,000. So everything's a lie. And there's also a rumor flying around, which I heard recently, that the mayor has just basically said he wants to get $3 million more from the healthcare. So that's more money they're going to steal, because the only way they can get that from healthcare is to change the benefits and screw the people. They're not going to reduce the cost of healthcare to the city. They're just going to say that the employees are going to pay more out of pocket. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try to change the plan like they did when they went to what we got now, and they made $8.9 million and are averaging $3 million a year taken out. So all you city employees, prepare for a pay cut a hidden pay cut because it'll be coming out of your pocket if they get this through. But I can tell you, they're going to be in for one hell of a fight if they want to diminish benefits, because we've been running under budget for 40 years. But this is the problem with the city. There is no financial oversight. Nobody cares. The city council apparently is oblivious to the fact that we never, ever cut anything. We never, ever tighten our budget. We never eliminate positions. What do we eliminate? The 2 police commission and a fire commission? $1,500 a year or something like that. That's absurd. Right. That's absurd. And you know, we're talking about more personnel everywhere. Every department, not people providing services to the taxpayers. But now we got more assistants to the assistants. You look at the school department, God, your head will fall off if you really look at that place close with all the fat they got there. Who in the world knew? And I will admit, because that school department is like a phantom zone. It's like the Twilight Zone. Nobody knows what's going on in there except people who were in the school department because of that ridiculous education reform and that autonomy. I had no idea the superintendent had like 6 to 9 assistants. I don't know if you did, but I sure as hell didn't. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if we should be screaming to the high heavens that we got number one, a real dud, a predator, a bully for a superintendent of schools, and we're paying him over $200,000 with 6, 7, 8, or 9 assistants. Well, I'll tell you what. If you need that many assistants, you're not a superintendent. You can't do your job. And then principals and vice principals and assistant this and CFOs. And on the city side, we see them all getting stacked up in different offices. There's always some new hire that's walked in with a politician. And it just seems that, and this is directly on the council.
I got my checkbook.
Yeah.
I got my checkbook.
That's it. We should be asking for a table of organization for every single department with every single position defined. And we should go to people who understand those departments and ask them what is necessary and what isn't necessary. And we should be looking to eliminate duplications and everything else. But they don't. And as long as you keep these people in their seats and in their offices, they are going to continue this until they run you and their threat becomes a reality that the state will take over, because we'll be in receivership and we'll all be broke.
No question about it. No question about it. And the worst part about this is that we the people have allowed this to go on every year for decades. For decades we've allowed this. And when you look at the fact that a city department head takes the stand under oath and admits that he violated the law, and his excuse was, well, the mayor told me to do it, I had to do it. If the mayor told you to jump off a bridge, would you do that? The Nuremberg defense isn't going to work. And again, I said this before, and I'll say it again. If I were the mayor, of which I'm not, thank God, but if I were the mayor, I would have called that department head and the other person who is in control of a department or an area and say, look, your credibility is now shot. I now have to ask for your resignation. So I would appreciate it if you would give me your resignation effective today, or we can talk about terminating you. Because guess what? You can't. The people don't trust you. The people don't trust you because of what you've said. And that's the truth. Okay? When those two same people went before the park board yesterday asking for millions of dollars to expand Oak Grove Cemetery to get another 20 years out of it, because it's cheaper to do that than it is to go out and buy land to make another cemetery, which I agree, it's probably cheaper. But again, you're asking for money. Is that money for what it's supposed to be? Or is that money for someplace the mayor asked you to go to spend it? This is what's going to occur every time these two do something. Is it for where it's supposed to be? Or is it for someplace that somebody told you to spend it? I mean, that's a reasonable assumption. At least I think it is.
It is. And what the answer should be to that is, why don't you just take it out of the snow removal budget? If you're looking for money.
Well, they're talking about spending the perpetual care funds again. They're picking away at perpetual care funds because nobody follows that. Even Mary Sahadi doesn't know how much money is in the perpetual care account. So this tells you something.
Well, she should, and there again is a dereliction of her duty, because she should know where every penny is as the CFO. But let me make something clear to a lot of people that don't understand this, that think that the Nuremberg defense is a valid defense. Every city official is sworn in, and they swear to uphold the law, the Constitution of the state, the charter of the city, and all the other associated laws that govern the way a city is run. And let me tell you something. As you said, if the mayor told him to make the excavation, and he says, well, the mayor told me he's the boss, I got to make the excavation. Okay, he's right up to there. But when the mayor told him to commit payroll fraud and take it out of the snow removal budget, the mayor can't tell you to do that because he's violating the law. He's asking you to commit fundamentally a crime. So you should have told somebody, because you can't commit crimes as they did in Nuremberg when the Nazis all got on a stand that killed millions of people, not only Jews, but gypsies and trade unionists and Methodists and Protestants. Fundamentally, everybody that wasn't a Nazi, that was their defense. Well, the Fuhrer told me to do it, so I had to do it. Well, that's when not only your morality in that case, but the law comes into play. No public official can give you an order to commit a crime. You're not obligated to follow that order. It's that simple. So I don't care. I don't want to hear that. If any mayor would have called me when I was on the fire department and told me to commit a crime, I would have said, put it in writing, which they wouldn't. Then I'd say, if you don't put it in writing, I'm not going to even do it. And if you put it in writing, I'm going to walk right out of your office and down to the Herald News.
True.
And every media outlet. So the thing is, let's make this perfectly clear. Gallagher committed the same offense. He set up a payroll and he paid somebody from an entity that wasn't responsible for that payment. So as you said, CJ, this is the problem with the city of Fall River. They play Chinese checkers with money. They just jump over things. And, this, and I think I actually had a conversation with the city councilor, and I said, if this is the way we run the city, stop doing a dog and pony show of the budget hearings. If the city's going to use this as one giant pot that they can just take money from anywhere they want, even if they're going to use it for what you didn't vote to use it for, the hell with it. Stop the scam. Stop the sham. Just have the mayor come down and say, I want $300 million for next year. Don't even ask him for what, because apparently it doesn't matter. We had Gallagher build a school department for a city side. We got this guy taking it out of the snow removal, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. We know this happens all the time. Perpetual care money. It's all over the place. This place is rotten to the core. Our government is corrupt, and there's only one answer. You have to get a forensic audit. Start where you know where every penny is, and make sure that every single penny is spent in exactly the way that it was appropriated for.
That's the problem. They don't know where every penny is.
We know that, though.
If they knew where every penny was, we wouldn't have this problem. So this is where we are. And this is where we're going to be for a while. And it's really sad that this is the part that we have to live in. And, you know, we swear a lot with forensic audit and fiduciary response. I'm swearing again. They're going to take me off the air. They're like, what a big mouth. He's swearing. See, I told you they were going to take me off the air. We're swearing.
That's it. They canceled you.
That's it. They canceled me. But we've been saying it for years. And what was it that we've heard? Well, if we do a forensic audit is a criminal matter. We heard that from former Mayor Sam Sutter. Remember? A forensic audit is a criminal matter. Well, guess what? It is a criminal matter now. Now it is a criminal matter. And guess what? The worst part about it is this administration, even though he was not in control during the Jasiel Correia administration, he's in control now. And he's allowing his department heads and his employees to commit fraud. And he's not doing anything about it. So he's just as corrupt as the previous administration if he does nothing about it. Just as corrupt if he does nothing about it. And that is definitely something I think that people can agree with. That if he's not going to do something about these people, then this is just the perpetuation of the corruption. And we can't have that.
And I think it's very important because that's the con that they told everybody about. It's criminal. A forensic audit is an audit. And we've said this numerous times. It's an audit that looks for compliance with law. But I'm going to read you the definition. Okay? A forensic audit is an analysis and review of the financial records of a company, person, or city that extracts facts which can be used in a court of law. Forensic auditing is a specialty in the accounting industry, and major accounting firms have forensic auditing departments. So fundamentally, what it is it's an in-depth audit, but it's also there to look at its compliance with law. So when they look at the numbers, they're not only saying that, look, these numbers all add up ultimately, but a lot of these things were misappropriated. They look at how the law applies to the way the finances were handled. Or in other words, they look for the fiduciary responsibility of the way the money was handled. And this is what we need. It is not criminal. It can lead to criminal charges, obviously. And that's what they're afraid of. Because they're afraid half of them will be in jail. Because people will begin to ask questions. You know, that's what we need. But hey, it is what it is. We know that this city, any similarity to reality, that any number that is ever given by this city's financial team is purely coincidental.
Yeah, true. I mean, Disney would love this because it's such a fairy tale. You know, it'd make a great cartoon.
Yeah, it is. Well, we got a few minutes, but the trial's wrapped up. It was a very interesting trial.
They rested on Friday. Thursday, and they're going to have closing arguments on Monday. Today, they are meeting the judge and the defense and prosecution to go over how they're going to charge the jurors. Some people say it's going to be boring. Some people say it's not going to be boring. I want to listen to that because I want to know how the jurors are going to be charged and what we can possibly find out there. It will make it for interesting. But the real interesting part was Jasiel didn't take the stand, Dave Hebert didn't take the stand, and Jen Andrade didn't take the stand. Yet the IRS agent, Yamansky, whatever her name was, it's a ski. She drove it right home and again buried Jasiel with showing how Jen Andrade's money came out of her salary and went into Jasiel's pocket. So they were, Yasmansky was very good at doing that. And she was very good in the previous part of the trial where she also talked about this. So again, we see this type of corruption. And how much of that type of corruption is still going on within Fall River government? We don't know. Why? Because there's no forensic audit. And we don't have an administration that we think we can trust.
And ironically, there's even less transparency with this government that there was in Jasiel's.
Exactly.
That's the irony of this thing. When I look at what's going on, there was obviously there wasn't any transparency about his criminal activities. But as far as the government itself, there was a lot more transparency than there was with this one, because this is like the government we have now is like the CIA. So you can't find out anything about anything. But it's going to be interesting because, the IRS, as you said, the IRS is that's why they put Capone in jail. This is not a subjective argument where you say, well, somebody might feel bad and they got a kid that's kind of a flaky kid, and they'll say, well, he was young, he didn't know what he's doing, he's bad at math. They're going to buy that. And that's not saying that somebody won't buy that on certain aspects. But when it comes to the IRS, you can't argue with numbers. 2 and 2 is still 4 until the wokeists change that now and say that's racist. That mathematics is racist. I know they've already said that. But the fact is, when she's dealing with numbers and IRS law, that you can't claim certain things as personal expense, etc., and say it's a business expense. Those things are basically irrefutable. That's why they got like a 99% conviction rate when it comes to tax issues. So that's one aspect of the trial where I think he's absolute toast. Everybody can have their own opinion, but I think he's toast on that, and I think he's toast. He's going to get. We can all get our guesses. We can all weigh in. This is purely personal opinion, but I think he's going to get convicted of maybe not all, or maybe we'll see what he's charged with, how he's charged, but he will be convicted. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. He's going to be convicted of something. So we'll find out when the trial, after the closing arguments, and the jury is charged. Now, I got some breaking news. The city may have a city administrator. The rumors coming out of the 6th floor is that Tim McCoy, who currently works at the Housing Authority, may be taking the position as city administrator. What kind of adds confirmation to this is Tim McCoy filed for an extended leave of absence from the Housing Authority to take the job as city administrator. Now, why would he take an extended leave of absence? Because if he doesn't work out as city administrator, he can go back to the Housing Authority. And remember, he was the purchasing agent for Fall River at one time. So,
yeah. And the operative word is at one time. And remember, did Mary Sahadi vote for his leave of absence?
Not yet, but if she does, there's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, damn right there is.
And I'll be the first one to file the ethics complaint on it. Well, it looks like we've run it out of time, so slam it home on that little bit of information. So if the mayor's secret was Tim McCoy, it's no longer a secret.
Another well-qualified,
candidate for city administrator.
Candidate for city council.
Yep.
So.
Well, I want to thank everyone for watching. I want you to have a great weekend. Remember, stay safe, wear a mask, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. And demand a forensic audit. Have a great day. Bye-bye.